This is Fred Beck from Fred Talks Fighting. I'm joined over Zoom with Mams Taylor after a very successful Misfits show in Newcastle. Mams, what's happening?
Fredericks,
Long time no speak, or a good week or so.
how did you wangle another interview on during a very busy day for me, Fredericks?
Today's a busy day for you, really?
What, like every day isn't?
Well, I guess you've got the Issues of KSI's album cover, and then what's the new business called again? You've got it's called Lunchly.
Lunchly,
Is that the new
exactly.
Prime? Is that going to be as viral as Prime?
I think it's going to do extremely well. I think it's a great move, and yeah, it'll be fun. Um, Fredericks, you're like my what Parsons is to Eddie Hearn, aren't you? To me,
You love that analogy. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know if that's correct. I don't know. Charlie and Eddie are very close. I like seeing Charlie's story because me and Charlie kind of started at the very, very bottom almost. I remember when he used to work for Fight Stars TV back in the day, and the Fred Fighting was very, very small. I think it was on like about 1,000 subscribers, and so it's quite nice seeing he's done very, very well. We kind of worked our way up, as one might say.
yeah, I'm very proud of that. You definitely have.
Will we see Charlie fight on Misfits? Big up
Gonna
Charlie.
Charlie against Bevo,
Yeah, would you make that fight?
maybe.
That could be really good. Eddie Hearn would come down to support Charlie. You know, Eddie there as well.
Yeah. Hey, you never know. I saw a meme with Eddie against Ben Shalom. The
That's
winner
been
takes
going,
the
so that's
winner
been
takes
going
all.
viral. That's been going viral over Twitter. Benjamin has been asking, or allegedly, we'll put that word in, allegedly has been asking people to cut bits out of his interviews or take interviews down. So yeah, that's been what's been going on Benjamin's boxer side. And then Eddie Hearn's got AJ versus Dubois. Who are you picking for AJ versus Daniel Dubois this Saturday?
I think AJ's looking good. It's going to be good. Daniel Dubois is a very, very tough fighter. Don't underestimate him. But I'd have to pick AJ. But I could be wrong, and I wouldn't be comfortable putting a Drake bet on that fight.
But don't stake give Drake the money to bet.
Pardon?
Do
Uh,
don't stake give Drake the money to bet though.
why are you getting in people's business? I don't know.
I've just alleged. I just seen it. I just seen it on Twitter. That's all. We'll just go straight into it. Thoughts on the Newcastle show? It's been happening. Well, it happened about a week ago. You've had a lot of time to reflect. Obviously, you had a few meetings about it.
Yeah, I think it was a really successful show. People really enjoyed it. Elle always does numbers. Very proud of her. She did very well. Obviously would have liked to have seen the finish. But also Jenny Savage, enter Jenny Savage into the Misfits realm. I'm interested in giving her more fights.
How were the numbers, the live and current numbers?
Very good. Third most viewed non-pay-per-view.
What was the most viewed show? Number one.
Elle against Paige
Wow, so Elle was in the top three.
twice.
Well, he was top. Who was number two?
Salt Pappy against Ferrari.
Oh, okay, nice. Wow, this year's been a very strong year then.
It's been a very strong year. It's a funny one because like if you look at Twitter particularly and you open it up and you really take it fully, like you use that as a barometer of how well you're doing, you'll shit yourself as a business owner because you like, oh my god, influencer boxing is dead, Misfits is dead, and I'm like, what the fuck? But I know better. You know, obviously I see the numbers. It's more like whatever trends it's trendy to say this is cool, then inevitably it's trendy to say it's dead or it's dying because they've had one bad experience or something like that. It's a really odd sort of for someone like me who's really not grown up on social media, you know, as someone who's older and grew up with a very different mindset. Um, it takes a while to get used to where social media is and how much it influences people and how much of it is true, how much of it is kind of smoke and mirrors. So yeah, it's been a learning curve for me as well. I've gotten to the point now where I don't really get too moved by the negative stuff that's said, you know. I think at first I was like, oh my God, this guy's horrible. Or I'd be like, I want to find you and beat the shit out of you, which obviously you can't do because it's, you know, and that's not the right mindset to have. You just got to be like, okay, whatever, you know, and I've gotten really a lot better at that. And it's a healthy thing. If you don't take other people's opinions or comments, especially when they're not constructive or coming from a place of authenticity, um, there's no point taking it for anything more than it is.
No, you can't pay attention too much to the negatives. We'll just go straight into the show though. One of the main talking points I've seen a lot of people talking about is the Ashley Raxu versus Tristan Ham fight, how it could have gone to the fifth round, sort of the overtime boxing rule where it's all to gain in the last round, and whoever wins the fifth round wins the fight. But instead, was given to Ashley. Kind of your thoughts on the decision by the judges?
I didn't agree with it. I didn't agree. Look, I hope. I'm sure it's annoying Ashley at this point that I keep saying this. It's just because I'm asked about it, and also I care about the right results. I care about whether it's KSI or Raksu or whoever. I don't want anyone to feel like they've been cheated out of the result that they've worked so hard for. And I genuinely believe that it was a draw and it should have gone into the golden round. You know, I think that should have happened. And I released the scorecards today. There's three judges and three jurors, and we've got to fix that and put four jurors on, so it's not an even number. Um, and three cumulatively, three said that Ashley won by what was it, 3-1. Three of them said that, and three said that it was a draw. So I'm asking the commission why that doesn't warrant a golden round. You know, I think it should have gone to a golden round just because there's no clear winner. Their argument is, well, three thought it was a draw, but the others thought it was Raksu. No one thought it was Tristan, so Raksu wins. And I'm not sure, you know, I've questioned to see the rules on that because I really really wanted that golden round. Listen, I don't want to take anything away from Ashley. I think he's going to probably very likely be nominated as one of the most improved fighters of the year, as well as Tristan, as well as a couple of other names for the awards, the Misfits awards at the
They're
end of the
happening.
year.
They're happening again this year. It's regular.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. I think we're trying to figure something out to actually have it in person and you know, make a thing of it. So we'll see.
Speaking about the Misfits show, then two of the awards. One got given to Lewis Bowden and Stokey. What a fight that was! It kind of back to the two novice fighters with 3 4 weeks boxing experience, just going at it for the 4 rounds straight, put on a very very good fight, and the crowd was definitely hyped for Lewis there. I told you, Lewis Bowden, man, he's doing well.
And Stokey did well. He really, you know, he's an 18-year-old kid. He did his best. He did okay, you know, props to him. Um, and props to Lewis as well. And giving him the fighter of the night actually felt really good and he really appreciated it. And I think, you know, he took time out of his regular job. And it counts as your holiday when you've got like a regular 9 to 5 and you take a week off. That goes towards the amount of holiday that you're allocated. So he used that time to basically do the fight. And I take my hat off to him for that. You know, he's a lovely guy, both lovely guys, really easy to work with, and there will always be room for that in Misfits boxing. You know, there will always be room for first timers coming in, trying it out, and you know, it really gave a good feel for it. It really gave a good feel for it was a throwback to YouTube boxing and how it started.
No, it's good. It's good to see. It's good fight as well. Shout out to Stokey as well. We'll move on then. Slim versus Gibb, the main event for the next Misfits last show of the year. That's correct in saying Slim versus Gibb will be Misfits last show this year.
Slim and Gibb. I think this just even like the idea of that fight, I never gave up on that fight, you know? I never gave up on the idea of that fight, even when it was tumultuous between me and Gib, or it was tumultuous between me and Slim. I really want, I really wanted that fight because the fans really want that fight. So for me, it's like it's something it's got to happen, and it has to happen, and it finally is happening. Um, there were a few mountains to climb. There were a few rings of fire to jump through, and we got there, and I think it went down very well. Surprised almost everybody, and yeah, I can't wait for that fight. It's a true 50-50 fight. I cannot bet on that fight whatsoever. There's no way. To me, it's 50-50. Slim has some things that are going to work in his favor against Gib. Gib has some things that are going to work in favor of Gib. But I will say this. I think that we haven't seen Slim for a year. He's been training really hard because he had the fight of his life. Now he's got the fight of his life ahead of him, regardless. So I'm really happy for him. But he thought he was fighting KSI. And obviously, he trained his ass off for that. Gib is like a ninja. You don't know with Gib. He doesn't give things away. Has he been training all this time? Has he been making improvements in the shadows without any of us knowing? I think a lot of this boils down to how much each of them have improved since we've last seen them. I think that's going to play a major factor because Gib is training for an opponent that he's seen a year ago against Salt Pappy. Slim is training for an opponent he's seen fight. Who did Gib fight last? Austin McBroom, right?
He fought Jarvis in the second round of the Kingpin finals in July
right.
of last year.
Yeah. Have they made adjustments, improvements? I don't know, and the game plan in this fight is going to be very, very important. And look, Gib has an amazing coaching team. He has an amazing team. Leon is there as part of that as well with the strength and conditioning. And Leon's input is very strategic. He's like a general that knows, he strategizes. This is what you need to do to basically beat this guy. And Slim's team are as high level as it gets also, so they're both going to be really, really strategic about this fight. And honestly, the most successful fighters have a plan A, B, and C. If he comes out like this, we switch our game plan to this. If he does this, this is what we're going to do. And I think they're both going to have that. So it's going to be like an accelerated chess match, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And if someone gets knocked out, I'll tell you this, the consequences of this fight are very, very important. The winner of this fight will elevate exponentially. The loser of this fight will have to deal with the aftermath of losing a massive fight. And that's never fun. So I think there's a lot on the line for this.
Where does the winner of this fight go?
Well, hopefully they stay at Misfits, Frederick.
No, I was obviously saying a misses. I mean, in terms of who they fight next.
No, joke. I joke. Well, Salt Pappy and Kenny might be fighting very soon. And I believe they were told that was a number one contendership fight. So picture this. Gib wins and Salt Pappy wins. That's a fight everyone's going to want to see, surely. Picture this. Gib wins and King Kenny wins. Finish the story. They've got a story to finish, those two. They never got to fight. Picture this. Slim wins, and he has that rematch with Salt Pappy, where Salt Pappy was winning and then got caught. Does Salt Pappy do better in a rematch? King Kenny versus Slim. No one's really ever talked about the possibility of that fight, but that is a fantastic fight. That's a fantastic fight, Fred. Like, I'm excited about either of those, but I think that's
that's a very good shout, Mams, actually. The storylines work for each of those matchups very well.
yeah. So,
and then moving on, so I asked before, is this gonna be the last card of the year?
yes.
We got one more Misses card this year in November.
Yes, sir.
In November. And this will be the Qatar card.
It'll be called the Super Card.
the Supercard in Qatar.
I didn't say that.
Well, I'm just going off what Twitter's saying, what I've seen on Twitter. Um, okay, so this is kind of like the Prime card, the next version of the Prime card then. How big it will be.
I think so. I think in a way it's I'm more excited about this at this point, and also I don't have to with JJ not fighting on it, it allows me to be more relaxed with the whole thing because I'm not taking sides on any fight. I want may the best man win on each and every fight, and whatever happens, I'll be ready for, and I'll be, in my head mentally, I've got a pathway for each fighter and each potential outcome. So I like to think a few steps ahead, and I think every fight on this card is something that's going to excite people. So it's literally going to be like every fight's a main event of its own right, and I love that. And the Prime card definitely had that as well. I think I don't look back on the Prime card with as much fondness as I did prepping for the Prime card, and that's because I don't know, it was a stressful night. There was a weird like aura that night. There was a weird energy for me. Who else said that? Coach Solomon said that to me as well. We just felt something was a bit off. Um, didn't get the result we wanted with KSI and Tommy, and that was a big blow because we really believed he won. But he's moved on a lot with that, and yeah, we're onto the next.
Well, when I interviewed KSI, he still wants a Tommy Fury rematch. It still kind of keeps him awake at night. It still kind of haunts him, the loss on his resume. He still
I
wants that
think
rematch.
knowing his character, he'll want to avenge that t that loss, I guess you could call it.
Yeah, I guess.
There
Um,
goes the hate. What? Make sure, by the way, here before you guys hate on me, please keep this in the video, Frederick. Um, Here's something nice I'm going to do for all of you. Frederick, could you please provide the fans with timestamps?
wow, look at this. This is Mams Taylor trying to win the Fred is Fighting audience on his side. Well, the I did do timestamps. I interviewed Slim for about it was an hour on about a 49-minute interview. And it took me a good
Wow.
half an hour to do timestamps. But no, timestamps will be provided on this interview, yes.
Yeah, don't get any ideas. We're done in like 7 minutes.
But this then, KSI will be returning next year. It's kind of odd thinking about it because last year there were what, three pay-per-views, KSI fighting three times. This year, KSI hasn't fought once. Um, so then next year we'll see KSI fight two, three times. Do you reckon he'll have an active next year alongside of his music?
He'll definitely be active. Let's take it one step at a time. He's got really big, challenging fights ahead of him, and we got to focus on one at a time. But yeah, I've got quite a few really cool ideas, and I think everyone's going to be happy. Like, message has been heard loud and clear, and KSI for his own excitement has to be overcoming challenges that people think are insurmountable, and I think that's going to be evident with the choices ahead.
Is there a chance we see KSI get his fight announced at the November card?
There's a chance. Anything can happen, Frederick.
That'd be good. That's actually quite a good idea, actually. You're welcome for that one. If you guys hadn't thought of it already.
I wouldn't have thought of that, would I?
Oh no, no chance. Let's about this then. I put a tweet out saying who I'm into Mam says today, what should I ask him? And Gio Traube, Logan Paul's editor, the legend Gio himself, he's appeared
I like
a
them.
few
I
times.
like them.
He gives some good few ideas. He suggested, well, I think you made reply to this before on Twitter. Little T fighting Afghan Dan.
Yeah, I think I don't know too much about those guys, but I know they have hostility towards each other. And if everyone sort of approves these wild men having a fight on the platform, then yeah, I'm all for it. You know.
All right, that's got your approval. You also tweeted the other day, Misfits MMA, Dylan Dennis and Mike Perry being awfully close to being announced. The MMA will be happening in next year. That'll be a big new project you guys are working on.
No one can stop me from putting that on. It's going to be amazing.
And then you've got Misfits, kind of the pro boxing scene of Misfits coming in next year as well. The two new entities you've got added.
Yeah, I'm really excited about those two as well. I really am. I think it's going to be super fun. The levels. There's some signings I can't wait to share with you guys as well. Really, really enjoying this whole space, and it's such a like I think people don't know this. Yes, I made my start. I made well, I won't even say my start, but I think the first successful business I was involved in wasn't even music anyway. It was like, it was real estate and things like that. But then I got because I did really well with music. People don't know this, but me, Marius, and Alexis, we put on our first ever MMA show in 2002, maybe 2003. I can't remember, 2003. And it was quite successful. It broke even. I think it was in High Wycombe. It was packed, completely sold out.
How many
Uh,
people?
I think a few thousand, 3 or 4 thousand.
Wow, a
And
lot.
yeah, and Lee Murray fought against Pele at that fight, and Pele Landis before your time.
I don't know
But
Pele. I know Lee Murray though, the guy who robbed the bank, one of the most successful robbers of all time.
yeah, and that was such a sick night. So I really got the bug. I just never got the opportunity. And I as a lifelong combat sports fan, this is just a dream to be able to expand into the areas which I personally love. I love MMA. I love boxing, and whether it's traditional or the Misfits universe.
And then 20 years later, so 2002, 20 years later, 2022, Misfits' first ever fight happens.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, yeah. It's just crazy how the world works.
I've just looked about the fight up on YouTube. Wow, there are a lot of people here. You got a sort
Yeah.
of orange, sort of very orange octagon with a blue canvas. Oh yeah. I'll put a picture on the screen now so that people can see. Okay, before we wrap this thing up then, fights for KSI. Who decides to fight for KSI now?
Um, I think everyone still has a lot of input in it, but the options are only going to be look, I'm going to put the options on the table, and all of those options will be really interesting fights. So that's it. And I know JJ feels the same, and you know, everyone knows that it's time for JJ to show people that he's leveled up massively. He's improved a lot. He's continuing to improve. You haven't seen anywhere near the best of him yet, so I'm excited for that, honestly. And I think he's got to challenge himself, and that's when he's at his best and at his most excited.
I know a lot of people don't know this, but since the start of Misfits, you've been in control of the matchmaking. So in other boxing promotions, Eddie Hearn won't really be doing the matchmaking. He'll have an input, but I guess they'll have a matchmaker at Misfits Boxing at Queensbury at Top Rank. But you're the one who actually puts the fights together. And obviously it causes a lot of stress and it's a lot of work for yourself. Do you think next year you'll have like a bit of a team kind of helping you with that sort of thing? Obviously it requires a lot of work, which you've done all yourself.
Yeah, I've just hired someone to help me out with matchmaking. Um, and that will take some stuff off my plate. Max, shout out to Max. He's taken a lot off my plate as well. So when fighters are like, "Hey, can I get this? Can I get an extra room? Can I do that?" I'm nice, and I end up costing us loads of dough because I just don't say no to people when they're like, "Oh, can I get an extra flight? Can I do?" Now Max gets to be the bad guy, and I'm like, we had a meeting, and it's like, Mams, like this isn't working out very well when you just say yes to everyone, and our costs are astronomical because you want to be nice to everyone, and that's true. I'm not tooting my own horn. It's just to me, it's like, oh yeah, sure, like, and I'm not thinking about it from the business's perspective. I'm more just like, this guy's a nice guy. Why not give him a room? And that's one of my flaws. So that's the good thing about being partners with Kalla, because he'll crack the whip more, and he'll. So Max is the guy who, whatever favors you need, ask Max, and then he'll say no, and that's great. It works out. I don't have to be the bad guy.
I spoke to Max today on the phone actually for a good 10 minutes, talking about a few things. So yeah, shout out to Max. Okay,
Max, Max the Lion.
Maxwell, we call him Max. Okay, a few more things before we wrap this thing up. Anything else you want to add, fights wise for next year? What are your targets? You've got a list of goals you want to achieve in Misfits Boxing next year, 2025?
Yes. Yes, I just had a really interesting call earlier today, and I can't share any of it with you, but man, it's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. Um, Obviously, I'm very, very disappointed about October not happening. And again, that's out of my hands. I'm not happy about it. I was I was given 100% verbal that it would be happening. So I've got to reshuffle a few things because of that. And it's really not easy to call people that have been in training camp and say, hey, by the way, you've wasted your time, or whatever. And especially when there were people that there were people that the audience would absolutely go mad about. And I've had to call them and say, sorry that you cancelled your tour, but, you know, I fucking hate it because it's disrespectful. And I'll tell you this, I don't break my word, Fred. I don't break my word. If I give you my word on something, I will absolutely do everything I can to execute that. And if I can't, I'll let you know in advance and I'll let you know why. That's just the respect I have. Um, but now I have to be careful not to give my word uh, until things are 100% concrete because I can't rely on other people's word. So I'm really sorry to let anyone down for the October thing. But you know what? We've got the super card and then we go back again next year and we've got a really, really full calendar of fun ahead for us.
One more thing I do want to add before we leave this interview off. There's a very big similarity between you and Dana White. Apart from you guys both being bald, there's another even bigger similarity, and that's the fact that how much he loves John Jones, and John Jones is the pound for pound number one. And it seems that you've been pushing HS Tikkytokky for everything in terms of being the pound for pound number one. I've seen this count quite a few times on Twitter. HS Tikkytokky for next year, it will be a big year for him. It's hard to get.
Undoubtedly, there is no doubt in anyone's mind. You've got to be crazy to think otherwise. HS Tikkytokky is the future pound for pound king of the entire world of crossover boxing. Do you not agree?
I mean, he looked good. I just want to. I was meant to do him today, actually.
Fensum,
I was meant to
Fensum,
interview. Wait, whoa, whoa! I was meant to interview H TikTok today, and that never happened. Okay, I'll have to chase that up. Sorry,
okay.
continue.
Yeah, Fensum is electric. This guy is very quick. He's absolutely he's got iron in both of his fists. He's got bricks in his hands. Fensum. You just that's how good HS is. He made Fensum, who's a complete beast, look like a walk in the park. Did he not, Fred?
Well, I mean, George Fensom, he'd been training for a while. He'd been training for a little bit longer than HS, but we're going to see George Fensom return next year. Is that going to happen?
Lovely guy. Who knows? Let's see what happens. It's got to be the right match. Look, Fensum, all kidding aside, Fensum is at a level where I think him against the Lewis Bowden types who are starting out, the Sherdleys I think he could be in that mix, you know? But yeah, no, HS, I'll tell you this, yeah, all jokes aside, that guy's a fucking beast. Yeah. He can find your chin like his hands are heat seeker missiles.
But
I've
where are you
seen,
getting the people? I'll play devil's advocate here. The people that haven't seen his training stuff, where'd you get all this confidence from in HS? What have you seen that people have not?
I think that he's a perfect villain. The scene needs a villain, and he's you. How do you feel about villains? If you're a villain in boxing, a true villain, you're either a lovable rogue to fans who love you, find you amusing, find you funny, and root for you to win, or they hate you so much they can't wait for the day that you get knocked out. And HS has both of those fans in spades. That's why he's a star. He's got the gift of the gab. He knows how to talk in one take. He doesn't need rehearsals. He doesn't need to think about what he's doing. He just does it. And that comes with pros and it comes with cons. Obviously, got him taken off a card once. But I think his potential and his future is so massive if he trains hard and he continues, because there'll come a time that talent won't be enough. Yeah, talent won't be enough if you're not working hard, and someone else without much talent is working 10 times as hard as you. That guy will end up winning. But I believe HS has the bug, and I want to capitalize on it. I don't want him to get too distracted. HS is he's my monster. I've created a monster, and he's him, and he's the Frankenstein that's going to come and strangle you in your dreams, Frederick.
Very scary indeed. Can you name me three fights? Can you name me three fights you want to see HS in next year? I'll give you mine: Zerka, Bradley Martin, and then maybe a Jake Paul eventually down the line in maybe 2 years' time. What are your ones?
Zerka has to happen. They've got a feud that really needs resolving, and I've been
Is that the most
speaking.
likely fight for him? I know you struggle getting him opponents. Is right now, is that the number one contender to fight HS, Zerka?
After three, four more fights, give him a minute. After three, four more fights, HS will take on everybody. HS will take on the Bruckners and the Levions and people like that. HS is not a joke. Uh, yes, he's got lots to learn, but as far I've seen natural talent on this guy that's unbelievable. And that's why I'm honestly big on his future, as well as him having a personality that's either very jarring or very lovable or very witty, depending on your perspective. He's got those ingredients. Yeah, this guy will go far if he trains hard. He will be the biggest earner in influencer boxing, the biggest.
They given KSI?
Well, KSI's got, he's got. I'm talking long term. HS, look, KSI is 30 years old. You know, HS is 22, you know? So KSI is going to do this maybe 3 more years, maybe 4, you know? I could see HS, even though he's like, yeah, I'll do this for a few years and take my dough and dip out. I don't I think once he's got the bug already, but once he gets that glory of beating a massive name in that ring, and that kind of thing, I think he'll be addicted to this, and I think he's going to be a legitimate threat to a lot of people. Look, there are hypotheticals here. It's up to him. I've rolled out the red carpet. It's up to him. If he wants to train hard and take this seriously, he will be the top guy.
That's no
Tikkytokky, future pound for pound king.
Can't wait to see it. It's going to be good. HS returning next year. Is there a chance he fights in Qatar? Is there a chance he fights in November?
I really do make it easy for people to say hateful things, don't I? Is there a chance? You'll find out. You'll find out.
And will the Qatar card be announced fight by fight like the Prime card was, or the full card like most events are?
Uh, you'll have to wait and see, Fredericks.
And there'll be a press conference next month for it.
You'll have to wait and see, Fredericks.
Okay. I guess I'll have to wait and see. Before we wrap this up, we've got 3 minutes left on here. Anything I missed out on? Oh yeah, B Dave. Will we see B Dave return? Since I'm wearing his hoodie he gave me.
I love B Dave. I love B Dave. Just got to find the right opportunity for him.
Nice one. Anything else then you want to add before we wrap this up? 3 minutes left on the clock here on the Zoom.
I did get. I wish I could speak on it, but I did get. I had a conversation with someone no one would expect me to be having a conversation with about fighting, and they want to fight HS. And the world would go mad because it would be hero versus villain. And I'm telling you, I'd be absolutely bonkers.
What industry is this person in?
I'm not saying a word.
Music, sport. What in?
Sport.
Sport, okay.
Yeah. All right. Well,
people. I guess the guesses will be going out now on Twitter. But yeah, Mams, as always, it's been a good year for Misfits. One event left, the big card, and yeah.
It's been a fantastic year for Misfits. I'm so happy that the social media fans are back on board as well and are enjoying the show. Listen, we've got so many great plans. Stick with us. We won't let you down. It's going to be more and more entertaining and more fun and more content. Can't wait to introduce Misfits MMA, which will not be going under that name. I'll give you that little exclusive. And then MF Pro as well. So watch this space.
Perfect. Under there. Mams, thank you as always.
Rex, thank you.